Sometimes I can't even record in public without getting looked at sideways. So just how private is Germany? Let's find out.
Let's pick up Pegman and go on a trip. How about Europe? Oh wait, you see that big white spot? It's not a glitch, it's Germany.
Google Street View is practically non-existent there.
And it's not for Google's lack of trying. In fact, they've tried to launch Street View in Germany twice.
But both times, they didn't succeed.
No.
Google is a major corporation that has implemented Street View in almost every country around the world.
When I moved back to the States the first time, I used to want to see what my old house here in Germany looked like. I used to go down as close as I could. You guys know how Street View works. At a certain point, it would cut off and just be a still shot. And if I'm not mistaken, it's all still shots right now. But I would go down as close as I could to try to get like out in front of the house to see if I can see anything. It would never get down to Street View. Now, what I did see was a picture of the house that I lived in from some time ago. The reason I knew that it was old is because my car was still in that driveway. It was a still shot. It wasn't live, it wasn't Street View. It was a still shot and my car was still in the driveway. So at some point, I feel like Germany must have had it and it was just like, no, we don't want this. Either that or these still shots is just what it's always been, a still shot every so amount of months or something like that. I looked again recently and it's all changed and it's all different. Still no Street View.
There are 10 million miles of Street View imagery and 36 million square miles of Google Earth imagery. And Google says it covers 98% of the places in the world where people live.
Wow.
And Street View has a lot of benefits. It can help you find what the outside of a building you're looking for looks like, or let you see what famous cities look like on the ground.
So that begs the question, why is Germany uncharted?
Street View officially launched in 2007. The next year, Google merged Street View and Google Maps and introduced Pegman.
I agree with her. It does come in handy. It's a handy tool, but I think what we're looking for is why Germany doesn't want it. And I think we already know it's because of their privacy laws, but why couldn't they bend for this? Why won't Germany bend for this? A tool that's actually quite useful.
Over the next few years,
How many times have you seen this car?
With big cameras blaze the way for Street View to expand across the globe at around 1 million miles a year.
Wow.
But when those cars tried to get into Germany, they were turned away. Germany wasn't having it.
No?
To figure out why, we have to look at Germans' relationship with their own privacy. Germany passed the world's first data protection law in 1970.
It was revolutionary in that sphere, and it set the stage for Germany's attitude towards data sharing.
The court ended up ruling that German citizens had the right to informational self-determination and to be able to block the sharing of personal information with any government agency. And these precedents meant that in 2010, the German Federal Constitutional Court overturned a law that allowed authorities to store phone and email data for 6 months for security reasons. The judge called this a grave intrusion of personal privacy rights. Human dignity shall be inviolable. To respect and protect it shall be the duty of all state authority.
I don't know how many times I've gotten this in the prison video that I put out, but that's like the number one thing that you guys keep posting in there. And that's why people are treated so well in prisons. Same thing when it comes to privacy.
The secret police, or Stasi, reigned over personal privacy. They contracted an estimated 190,000 part-time secret informants and employed an additional 90,000 officers full-time. In total, that's about 1 in every 50 adult East Germans as of 1990. They tapped phones, read correspondence, and jailed and tortured people based on this information.
See, one of the things I think I figured out about Germany is a lot of their laws that many people might consider strange, they all stem from like history. Like, I feel like Germany never wants to make a mistake of messing up again. I feel like they overdo certain things, but with a purpose. Overdo it in a good way, with the purpose of not ever going back to a time where they have to explain themselves or be in a situation where they got all eyes on them looking at them doing something. You understand what I mean? So I'm seeing this and they said they did all of this before. They took people's privacies, they took people's information and data and used it for whatever reasons before. I think we know how that ended. We're going to find out if we don't. But they don't want to go back down that road. They don't want to be like that anymore. So it's kind of to let you guys know how much we're not going to be these kinds of people. We're going to do this, and we're going to stick by it, and no one's going to change our minds.
That history has led to distrust of people having your personal information.
For example, in 2016, 80% of all point-of-sale transactions, meaning in-person sales, like grocery shopping or buying a shirt at a store, were made in cash rather than a credit card.
You see? You see how they, like, from historical standpoint, things carry on and they just leave them the way they are. They let them work the way they work and they don't mess with it. The credit card thing, a cash and credit card thing is a perfect example. Perfect example. She said that directly right on time.
In comparison, in the Netherlands, only 46% of these transactions were in cash.
So in August of 2010, when Google announced it was going to map Germany's 20 biggest cities, Germans were not thrilled.
The idea that pictures of their houses and streets were going to be publicly available was just intolerable.
Yeah.
Some of Google's camera cars were vandalized. A 70-year-old man threatened a Google driver with a garden pick.
Oh my gosh.
3% of households in those areas requested their houses to be blurred out.
I did see a little bit of that. And I think I forgot to mention, the major cities did have Street View back when I was looking at it. The example I gave you early on, the major cities had Street View, but it looked like this. Most of the stuff was blurred out. And at this point, it's like, what are you even looking at? So why even use it? Like, this is completely useless the way it is.
This is what it looked like on Street View.
Yeah,
That's
look at
an
that.
unprecedented level of
That's
resistance
garbage.
that Google just hadn't faced before.
So they published the data that they had already collected, but left it at that. They haven't taken any new Street View images in Germany or Austria since then.
There you go.
In contrast, only 200 Brits asked for their houses to be blurred. Just 0.00003% of the population.
And then it got worse.
When the Google Streetcar was moving through streets to collect visual data for creating the maps, they were actually collecting all this data from the different households.
The authorities fined Google $189,225, almost the maximum amount they can fine corporations, $195,000. The man in charge of the investigations, data protection supervisor Johannes Kasper, said that he didn't charge them the full amount because Google eventually gave him a copy of the German data they had collected.
To a lot of Germans, that was a slap in the face.
$189,225 is roughly 0.002% of Google's $10.7 billion net profit, or what Google made every 2 minutes that year.
Academics
So they were fined as much as they make in 2 minutes. That was their fine for that. That's why the German people felt like that it was a slap in the face. And I think I kind of understand.
When
Very
Google
true.
announced in 2017 that they were going
Look
to
at this
try
though,
again,
man. That's
another
useless.
43% of German
Which,
households opted
I
to
mean,
have their houses
you can see a
blurred out.
little bit of the
Google
streets and
also
stuff,
promised
but
that
that's,
they'd only
to me,
hold
that's just too
unblurred footage
useless.
of license plates and houses for a short period of time, but they haven't made any progress since then.
While it may seem like the effort may be more than it's worth to get Street View into Germany, that's not quite the case. People's use of Street View lets Google accumulate lots of information, allowing them to tailor ads to each person. The more times each person clicks on an ad, the more money Google makes. So it makes sense as to why they want those ads to be as clickable as possible.
Is Germany being overly cautious about Street View?
Maybe.
Some experts say yes, and some say no.
But Germany's caution is understandable after their political history, especially when large companies have few checks on their power and a lot of information. But a majority of Germans still have accounts with these internet companies, and younger Germans are less concerned than their elders, according to the New York Times. The EU slapped Google with one of the top 5 biggest fines ever, $5 billion for forcing smartphone manufacturers using the Android operating system to pre-install Google browser apps on their phones.
And that's one of the things going on in the States right now with iPhone. iPhone is big on privacy. I don't know why it's not a bigger deal here. Most people here use Android phones. And hello, but iPhones are all about privacy. And right now, they're actually in a huge fight with one company I know, as Facebook, because Facebook is like the leader of always digging, always looking for your data, always wanting your information, and going to great lengths to get it. doing anything they can to get it. Terrible, terrible ways of getting it. You would have no idea. And Apple wants to put a stop to that. So if I'm not mistaken, the incoming iPhone will be the device that does not allow any company to automatically get into your data. It'll notify you. It'll let you opt out of it. That's what the new iPhone is rumored to be like. And Apple and Facebook are in a huge fight over that right now because Facebook is mad because Apple is wanting the people to have more privacy and Facebook don't want that. They want your
As other mapping engines make their own Street View equivalents, it's worth wondering where our information is stored and what these companies are doing to protect it.
Not much. So the reason Germany is so private right there is because we don't know what's happening to our data. We don't know what companies are doing. We do know the immediate thing they're doing, and that's them using it to feed us stuff that they think we might like. Like for the fact that I'm talking about this right now, I might go on my phone and start getting ads and stuff for Google stuff or whatever the case may be, or maybe a Facebook post or whatever. And I know y'all have seen it. You've seen it where you know you haven't Googled anything, you know you haven't looked it up on your phone, but somehow you're getting ads for stuff you were talking about earlier with your grandmother. Those big funky stockings that she wants you to buy her 3 pair of? Yeah, now you're getting ads for it. How? You know how. They're getting your data. That's how. And that's why Germany is so private. Don't forget to like the video. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.